YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with another 7-round NFL mock draft. This one is for the Cincinnati Bengals. They got 11 picks in the upcoming draft. A lot of picks. Very impressive. They had a good draft last year, too, mainly on the defensive side of the ball. So looking forward to some of those guys stepping up. Let's see if they can get some guys to join them. We're doing this for every single team going in draft order. I apologize for the wait if your team is towards the end, but we'll get there. Lots of NFL draft content, free agency content already on the channel. We have an updated mock draft on the channel as well, so check any of that out. It'd be much appreciated. Check out our Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Lots going on there. Links in the description for all of those. Let's get on to the Bengals. I went with Rashawn Gary first. You know, it has come to my attention recently that they're, you can't believe everything you see, especially this time of the year. I haven't really seen anybody say they like Rashawn Gary, but I've seen they're having a private workout. They're bringing him in. So they're very interested at this point, and I can see them bringing him in there, putting him at the end spot or the tackle spot for them. That's the good thing about Gary. He can play the end, a D tackle spot, can play an end in really either defense. I doubt we see him step back off the ball. So I think, at this point, they're pretty high on Gary, so we'll go with this scenario for this 7-round mock. Little different scenario in our most recent regular mock draft. But Rashawn Gary from Michigan, who people just go and they look at his stats right away. Not the best stats, not the best production, but this guy, if you watch the tape, he was doubled, and I even seen triple teamed at times. So he was feared, basically. So he's going to help his teammates out a lot, really is what he's going to do. He's athletic, and he can play. Trust me, he can play. And I would like him in this range of the draft. So the Bengals start with him. And in the second round, they go with Garrett Bradbury, which I think this is probably the latest he probably can go. He's starting to get some first-round talk. It's very hard to, tell where he exactly can go. They got Billy Price last year. He can play center, and then Garrett Bradbury can play guard for them right away. I like him starting at either spot, center or guard, no matter which team he goes to. Whatever they need more, that's where he starts. He's very impressive. He's starting to climb up my board, so maybe since this is a realistic draft, but this is a grade A type mock draft for these 7-round mocks, this is best case scenario here. This is probably the latest, very latest he will go. So see what happens with him. Moving on to the next pick, Lonnie Johnson Jr. from Kentucky. He's very good in the pass game. He needs to be better in the run game. Some of his moments in the run game aren't the best. He's got to work on that. Got to work on shedding blocks. But in the pass game, he's excellent. Sticking to receivers down the sideline, very good at making a play on the ball. He's long, athletic. So I think third round is about right. At one point, I was super high on him. I was thinking second round, but then, I start seeing some of the run game stuff that he needs to work on a little bit. So it slides him down to the third round. A lot of upside for him. Bengals will want to throw him in there with the other young talent they have that has a lot of upside on the defensive side of the ball. So moving on to the next pick, Drew Tranquill, I would like on the Bengals defense. They need a couple linebackers. Yeah, they wait a little bit in this scenario, this mock scenario, but Tranquill, I think would be probably a second round. He's a second round talent, but constantly seems to have injuries. But the thing about Tranquill is he plays through them, always plays through them. That's the most impressive part, and it doesn't look like it's affecting him really. So that's the thing to keep an eye out for him. I think he drops a little bit because of that, but he was a former safety, so he knows how to cover. That's the great thing with him. He can cover. He has experience inside and outside. He can do it all. So very impressive guy. That'll be a great pick for them in the fourth round. And they go back-to-back linebackers. Jermaine Pratt, not getting enough love. I think I would take Pratt earlier than 5, but it sounds like, he could go 4, but best case scenario 5 for the Bengals here. They get a steal there. Another guy that was a former safety, very athletic, can play outside for them, flies to the ball. So they get a pair of linebackers that can come in and play right away for them. That'd be very impressive if they go this route. Next pick, Brett Rippon in the 6th round, quarterback from Boise. Why not? He's a potential guy, got a lot of upside, and they need a quarterback of the future, a guy that can learn from Dalton for a few years. Why not? A lot of people are pretty high in Rippon. I think this is more of his range, maybe as early as 5. I think if he played right away, he could struggle with a little pressure. He kind of struggles stepping up in the pocket. He could step up in some sacks is what I'm predicting if he plays early. But in this scenario, it's perfect. I think a guy like this is perfect for bringing in and having him sit behind a veteran. I'm not a fan of having a first-round quarterback sit behind a veteran, but I think this scenario would work out great for the Bengals. Moving on to their next pick. Max Sharping, NIU offensive lineman. Yeah, some people are higher on him than I am. I feel more comfortable in this range, maybe 5 at the earliest. He can play tackle, and you probably could move him into guard. So get some offensive line depth, a guy with some potential. Again, maybe other people are a little higher on him than I am, but I think this is more of his range for the Bengals here. Next pick is going to be Chris Slayton. They need some depth at the D tackle spot. Honestly, they could use another starter. It takes to play alongside Geno Atkins. Geno Atkins is very dominant. They could use another guy to step up there, but it's not 100% necessary. Like, it's not a glaring need. They have Billings in there. He's pretty solid, so they could use the guy earlier in this. Also, Rashawn Gary can play end or that tackle spot. So depending on what they decide to do with him, if they get him, that will kind of tell us about the rest of the draft. So Slayton could be a depth guy, a guy with a future here out of Syracuse in the 6th round. A lot of 6th-round picks here for the Bengals. Ugo Amadi from Oregon. He is listed as a safety, but he is a slot player. He will play in the slot if he went to the Bengals, any team. He will play in the slot. He's pretty good, too. Kind of a, feisty guy. He's always in on the action, fun to watch, very quick. So, again, yeah, just so no one's confused, he is listed as safety, but he will play in the slot no matter where he goes, in my opinion. So, in this case, in this scenario, we're going to put him in the slot for the Bengals. They could use another guy like that for the future. Another pick here in the 6th round, Malik Reed, Nevada pass rusher, underrated guy, not getting a lot of talk. He had pretty good production at Nevada. It wouldn't surprise me even if he went 5th, but best case scenario here, he can give you depth at the pass rush. We're looking for depth here, down here. Depth at the pass rush, and it's very, very important to have it at that position, obviously. And then we got one more pick, a lot of picks for the Bengals here. One more pick, and it's going to be an actual safety this time, and that's JoJo McIntosh from Washington. He's not really getting talked about too much. Tape isn't the greatest, but he has potential here. Playing alongside Taylor Rapp's kind of rough because Rapp is ridiculous. He's a 1st-round talent, and then you got JoJo McIntosh here, who is pretty solid though, for depth-wise here for the safety position for the Bengals. So again, Amadi wouldn't really be a safety. So here's your safety depth here. So they get a pretty good haul. We're starting at the end here. The Bengals are in a pretty good situation because they drafted pretty well last year. I wasn't in love with their free agency, but it's okay because they drafted well last year and they have a ton of picks this year. So as soon as we start to get to the end here, we're starting to see where they just need depth. They're pretty much set, here and there. So for the future, it's not like they're going to go win the Super Bowl right now, but their future's looking pretty good. They got a lot of guys to step up. Obviously, linebacker unit needs to be upgraded. They did get Malik Jefferson last year. Hopefully he steps up. But, a lot of young talent, some more young talent coming into Cincinnati in this scenario. So let me know your guys' thoughts. More 7-round mock drafts on the way. We're getting there. We are getting there. It's a process. Plenty of NFL content all the time here. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Clicking the like button would be much appreciated. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for their support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.